All right, welcome. Yeah, there's some technical issues. We were trying to host it from Maine and then enter from Maine with two different accounts, and that was obviously a mess. We should have asked Fundamentals, who is obviously a pro at this kind of stuff. So here we are. Um, Sir PT, are you there? I mean, I know you're there, but are you able to speak?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Great, that's fantastic.
Awesome.
So I think bump in the road, no problem. Let's jump right in. One sec. Okay, so today we have a few really good things to talk about, and we also have a special guest that has been a great community member. I'm just waiting for him to come up, and I will invite him also to talk. He's been a stern offender. First of all, he came in and he was very critical about the tech, and then he actually started digging, and then he became very excited, and now he's the person that is posting a lot of. Um, Grains that he was finding and like he's sharing with other people and saying, hey, look what they're doing. Oh my god, they made so much money today. He's like looking on chain to share with everyone what he's finding, and so that's quite good detective work he's doing, and that's why we want to bring him up today and talk with him. So that's one person out of the community, Dr. DeFi. I'm going to wait for him to join, and then we'll have him come up on stage. Meanwhile, we want to talk about a few things that are happening this week, that are actually happening today. Sir PT, would you like to mention that first point we spoke about in regards to making the treasury work?
Absolutely. So we just made an announcement and posted a Medium and shared on Twitter that we've allocated 15 ETH from the treasury to the MEV contract, and we will be using that to target more tokens. We'll be converting that to some active tokens as well to target the sell side, and ramp up the Sandra transactions and the bundles. Aside from that, we will also be doing a dust collection process, which means we will have a lot of transactions to collect some dust of tokens, so we can target way more opportunities that way. So if you haven't seen the announcement yet, there's a Medium post and it's on Twitter. Please share a like and um,
So let's
share the
go into
news.
this. What does that's exciting actually. Let's go into this. So what does this mean? What does this entail? So you put a chunk of the treasury money
Mhm.
into this special wallet. What will happen now with that?
So we have an increased balance. That means that um, uh, we have a wider range of opportunities we can target. For example, if we have a balance of 1 ETH in there, that's the maximum we can use for MEV. And if there's an opportunity that requires 3 ETH, for example, we won't be targeting that because other bots would have more allocation to use. So we will be able to just use more capital, target more opportunities, and we will convert a chunk of that to tokens that we will be able to target. And the most value there at this stage is marketing possibilities, because we'll be able to share our MEV transactions with other tokens and uh, uh, be active on those tokens, and that would create marketing opportunities to showcase that the accept MEV is active, and it will be available for communities as well.
So that'll be actually very fantastic. I know we spoke about this a few days ago in one of the VCs of how when you're in one of these high volume tokens and you see Jared come in and then squeeze people out, everybody knows Jared because of that. And now there's a new kid on the block, and everybody will see that ENS and will start looking into the contract, will start looking at what it is. So that's actually great marketing right on chain. That will bring a whole new set of eyes. I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
So now we haven't registered our ENS yet. So, and I think it would be great if we get some community input on what ENS we should register for our MEV bot. And I think maybe if we can either poll in the Telegram or comment under this spaces and some of the community members. Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's place comments. That sounds good. Let's place comments under the spaces and see what the community thinks what the ENS should be like, and then that's fun. That's really really good. So, what will happen with the money that is generated by these, you know, by these
Yeah,
trades?
I think we've discussed that on a former VC as well for any profits that are generated in on our MEV would flow to the ecosystem. So as we are targeting the buy side and competing with other bots, we are, and as a standalone product for the MEV, we're still limited within the same parameters as any other bot. So in terms of competitive advantage, that mostly comes from gas efficiency, and we are offering builders the same reward amount to be competitive with the other bots. Now, as we scale our ecosystem with the other utilities, that will widen our profit margins and competitive advantage greatly. So, to answer your question directly, the profits we will collect on the ENS, whether that's right now or in the future, as well as we scale up our competitive advantage, that will be used to fill the loyalty reward pool. And we would have to buy tokens and deposit them in that treasury.
Nice. So basically, that's what I was boiling it down to. It means it goes back into the chart, and then it's being given as a reward. But that's really bullish. That's really really nice to see, because everybody will be able to see how much goes back into the chart, how that all works, and basically build up expectation towards whenever they're ready to use these kind of technologies themselves, right?
Yes, you will be able to see on-chain transactions and get see more opportunities happen. And as we expand our ecosystem, because I think we'll be talking about the different product in a little bit as well, that would offer, like I just said, more competitive advantage and scale that a little bit. So this is something that doesn't scale like linearly. It scales progressively. So if we start out with a standalone product MEV bot, and if we attach one of the other utilities to that, it scales and increases our competitive advantage. Now, if we attach more utilities and more and expand our ecosystem with different products, and we have more transaction throughput, that scales immensely. So that's where it on the tail end right there, you will see enormous growth compared to where we are right now.
That's fantastic. That's really really good. So you've been talking to me about something that is in the works right now, that will be a very major part of the ecosystem, which is currently being built, and then it will be combined with the MEV bot, which is something about, you mentioned something around an auto buy script that will later on merge and become some sort of market making utility that will be part of the ecosystem. And I think that would be an interesting topic to talk about today.
Yes. Yes. So our product Xception that we have in development is basically what we're testing right now is a V1 version of a market maker that users can use themselves, or even projects could utilize. Now, in the very basic version, you would think of a script that acts upon certain parameters, such as um, if you have token XYZ and you would set either market cap of 10 million as the lower bound and market cap of 20 million as an upper bound, you could automatically range trade those prices. So you could set the script to automatically trigger in certain intervals buy transactions if it is below the 10 million market cap threshold or a certain price, and you could scale those out in intervals when it is on the upper bound, for instance. Now that's a basic version, and you could think about how we can expand on those things. For instance, an example could be if there are technical traders right here, we could implement things like Bollinger Bands or something, and even I don't know standard deviations from the moving average and that type of thing. So we can play around a lot with that and expand on it. But as a basic version, you could have to think as like range bound trading, and that could trigger overnight whenever you sleep. So it's something like dip buys, and it scales in and upper range sells.
Wow. Okay. That's really cool. I remember being in been in many projects actually, and wishing that I could have some kind of capability of market making, in certain sense. So that's really good if that is given, to everybody to just do exactly that. Um, so how will that tie together with the MEV bot? Like, what's the use of bringing these two technologies together and intermingling them?
Yeah, there's a very big advantage to combine those, especially for the MEV bot, because if you imagine at scale, if you have a certain amount of users utilizing this tool, we would increase our transaction throughput quite a bit. Now, all of these transactions we can bundle with MEV transactions, and if we scale that large enough, that means we can create very interesting bundles to builders to include both the either buy or sell transactions of the market making bot from Xception, and combine those with the MEV bundles. And if we offer bigger rewards to builders on our bundles and they get included more often, that means we can if our bundles are large enough, we can widen out our um, MEV rewards, MEV bundle rewards to the builders. We can widen our profit margins in that area because our overall bundle is interesting enough for the builders to include.
Interesting. Interesting. I mean, I guess that remains to be seen. It sounds very technical, very complex. I think it remains to be seen how that actually translates into the user's wallet, and what that actually means in non-technical and financial terms, right?
Yeah, to quantify that into any number, that's very difficult at the moment, because we have no user data right now. But how that translates into the user's wallet, that means if we bundle those transactions, the profit margins widen on opportunities, and that would be a direct result for a user on an MEV transaction, and overall ecosystem as well, because wider profit margins overall result in bigger fees collected that would cycle through in the loyalty reward pool, so that benefits all users.
Interesting. Wow. I mean, I think it's interesting to notice too, and to note that you're not satisfied with just having an MEV. Your team, your devs are not satisfied with just developing an MEV, which is actually much bigger than most projects have done so far, but you actually want to go further. and you want to combine it with different tools in order to take advantage even more of that technology, which is very remarkable. I just want to note that, as a side note.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, because if you see how much, if you compare to the top MEV bots, how much gas fees are being used compared to the profit that's extracted, um, that's very inefficient if you compare to combining it with an entire ecosystem. So everybody's better off if you combine it. All the users, um, the project, but also I would argue the users that are being MEV'd by our users, because they would be able to claim rewards from our recovery pool.
I think that's a very important point. I know you've repeated it over and over, and I do think sometimes it's good to repeat things because new people hear it, or the more often you hear it, the more sense it makes. Is that the large MEVs such as Jared? It looks like they're making a lot of money, but because they're spending so much money on gas fees, it's actually minuscule what they end up making. Whereas because they're doing, long side MEVs, whereas the short side MEV, as you have explained in the other VCs, is a lot more profitable if you can play that properly. And that's where your whole what's the word?
Yeah,
Making it available to a lot of people. That's where that whole concept comes in. And I do have a question about that because that's still for me not fully clear how the competition works. How the spread is between the different people that are playing a certain possibility, and I'll say, okay, I have 1% of a supply, someone else has a 0.5% of a supply, someone else has like 0.05% supply. We all approve our
mhm.
tokens. Who wins that competition? Who actually gets to make that transaction from their wallet? And how are these rewards being spread across everyone that has participated in this opportunity?
That's a good question. To answer your first comment, the short side, on the sell side, there's less competition that way. There are certain tokens where there is a competition, where if you would mention that Jared has a lot of balance and actively targeting that, he would utilize the same strategy as the long side, for instance. So there's more competition. Now, most of the tokens, there's way less competition, and that offers directly wider profit margins. Now, and the other ones scale with the entire ecosystem. Now, if we compare the users and their basically competition among each other, we've created a model where we think that it's most fair and it benefits the ecosystem the most to have everybody participate. Now, that means if multiple users approve the same token, they are basically in direct competition with each other. Now, that could lead to a couple of things. One is a certain user, like I think you mentioned yourself as an example, you have a lot of supply of a certain token. If you approve those tokens to the MEV bot, that will basically um, disincentivize the other users to do the same. If they see, okay, one user has approved a lot of tokens, I can't compete, so why would I participate with that token? So that would have a single user on that particular token. So the other thing is, if that's the case, um, there would be um, bigger volatility in opportunities if somebody would revoke their approval of the tokens. For instance, if you would like to sell your tokens and you would be the only one that has approved those tokens because other people are afraid of that they can't compete, you sell your tokens and now nobody's targeting that opportunity. So if we make it as fair as possible, so we would have a prioritization sequence, but it's also good for other users to approve those tokens. There's a direct benefit for them. That way we can uh, offer rewards to everybody that participates, but also we would safeguard a little bit that if the some users would sell their tokens or revoke their approval, that still the opportunities would be targeted and not get lost because a single user sold their tokens or revoked access. Now, how that works is we have a 20% performance fee on the MV transactions, and that gets allocated to the loyalty reward pool and the other users. Now, we haven't exactly pinpointed the allocation of that percentage yet because we want to do some analysis on what's the most fair and benefits the ecosystem best. So if you as a user have tokens approved and there are other users that have done the same, there would be opportunities that have been spotted, and the MEV bot calculates the amount of tokens that are required for the maximum extractable value. Now, let's say there are 5 users that have 1 million tokens approved, and the MEV bot requires 900,000 tokens, for instance. Those 5 users all apply for the MEV transaction. So the other users that have less tokens, they won't be able to offer their tokens and get the maximum extractable value. And we're looking for the maximum extractable value for the entire ecosystem. So they would be disregarded for this opportunity. Now, among those 5 users, another prioritization is in place, and that would be amount of tokens of accept tokens held. Now, to follow up with that is that we are also looking at different parameter sets to make this a good model and a fair model for everyone. So we might need some testing and improve that, so it doesn't fall victim to game theorists that find a way to game that system a little bit. So that requires more testing. But there will be a priority sequence for that, and that's one of which is based on token holdings.
Okay, interesting. So it's not necessarily always about who holds the most tokens.
That's true. So if you hold the most tokens, you have 2% supply of a certain token. But for a specific opportunity, only 0.1% supply of that specific token is required. Everybody that has that amount of token applies, but it could very well be that a different user has more accept tokens or other parameters that we need to include in that prioritization. So if they have more tokens, it could be that the user that has 0.1% of the supply gets priority there.
Interesting. Okay, great. Okay, cool. So that one person that goes through, that has that transaction go through, will get the airdrop of wrapped ether, and the other people, they will get it in a passive form by having to going through the ecosystem and then claiming the rewards later as a token provider.
Yes. So their direct benefit is that they are part of a small group that get a portion of those fees, and also by approving those tokens, they would also get points in the gamification process as well. So approving tokens to the MEV bot has value, and of course there needs to be like parameters to prevent some game theory right there. For instance, if somebody would approve all their dust tokens in the hope to get a lot of rewards, for instance, that has no value for the ecosystem. So we would have to safeguard that.
Ah, I see. Okay, so now I'm seeing Dr. DeFi is also there. Sorry, for some reason I couldn't see you before, but anyhow, that's good to have him here. He's the person that I was speaking about in the beginning that has been doing a lot of digging and would love to share some of his insight with us, or better, we would love to hear some of his insight that he has been
Absolutely.
finding. So I'm inviting you to speak. Dr. DeFi, are you there? Pressing these buttons, waiting for him to come. Well, until he comes. Well, that was a great explanation. Thank you a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense. It was very good to just hear it a few times to make sense of it. But yeah, that was really really helpful. Dr. DeFi, I see you started being a speaker. Can you unmute yourself? Hello. Okay. Well, whenever you're ready to unmute yourself, just go ahead and unmute yourself, and then we can have that conversation. In the meanwhile, Sir PT, if you want to continue your conversation, we can still go through a few more things on the list until Dr. DeFi fixed his microphone, I assume.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
So there were a few more bullish things that you uh, told the team and the KOLs and people internally about what is happening right now on the roadmap, what is being developed this week. And you touched on it briefly
Mhm.
yesterday. And I think it's worth looking at it again and spending a little more than just one sentence on it, because there's so much in there, right? So maybe we can just go through one or two things, and if something comes to your mind and you want to share some insights about it, that would be fantastic. So on the list, one of the things we just spoke about was this auto buy script that will lead into market making, and then how you will be combining this with sandwich transactions, which you also already covered. Then the next thing on the list is that is being worked on is the Telegram bot itself, which should be able to perform the buy of a token and sell of a token. Maybe you want to go into that a little bit, and we saw some of that in the presentation, in the video presentation, but maybe you can go into it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Telegram bot, that's the basic version right now that we use to approve the tokens to the MEV bot. That's the same Telegram bot that we would use to buy and snipe tokens, etc. So basically, what we need is the UI that needs to be improved for the Telegram bot. We have I'll share it sometimes after we've deployed. We have a very large board with the Telegram bot UI, all the buttons, what they need to do, where they need to be, and how the menu should look, etc. So that's in development right now. But of course, we would have to tie that to actual the back end that buys the tokens, etc. So that would require our first of all our router contract to be able to buy and sell tokens. Of course, we need private key management and a script to generate the transactions. But one of the main thing is the router
Yeah,
contract.
can you hear me now?
We
Yeah,
can hear you.
All right. Sorry for cutting you off. Actually, I was having some trouble with my mic, I suppose.
no worries.
Oh, good. Don't worry. No worries. We can just finish those
Yeah,
points, and then we can
sure.
come to.
So what we require, one of the things is our router contract, and I think for the people that like to dig, they can probably find our just deployed testing router contract, and we've tested a couple of things today. which is performing a buy transaction through our router contract. And there are a couple of things that happen. The fee within the router contract works in there. The block tip to the bribe to the miner. So we've included a miner tip in that transaction. And also I've got the update that there's block reorg protection implemented as well. So this is a Uniswap v2 router contract and will be updated shortly. So it's now deployed as a proxy contract. And once everything functions as we expect, we'll do redeployment and audit of it.
Excellent, excellent. There was one question in the Telegram community just now, which I think ties very well into what we spoke about just in the last point, where the person says, Sir Petit just did an extensive explanation about the sell-side prioritization for users, but how is the prioritization working on the buy side? Only the biggest accept whale who has approved the token will be chosen by the bot, I assume?
That's a good question. So on the buy side, we use wrapped Ethereum. And I think it's good to explain why we've separated the buy side and the user side's sell side. Because on the user side, you approve tokens to the contract, and that takes a little bit more gas for those transactions. However, it offers more flexibility for the users. So that's something we took into consideration, because we don't want users to stake their tokens or send them to the contract. We want them to have full control of their tokens at all times and do it with an approval transaction. But the cost of that is that it takes a little bit more gas. Now, in our entire ecosystem, that doesn't really matter. So the flexibility and more safety is more important for us here. Now, on the buy side, there's way more competition. So if we would do the same process, that would mean that all the users would approve their wrapped Ethereum, for instance. That pool would be very large, and we would pay a little bit more gas for those transactions. So it makes more sense to target the buy side with the treasury of the project, and then use those profits to fill the user loyalty reward pool. And because it's cheaper in gas, it saves up for the competition sequence. So it's better for the entire ecosystem, in our opinion.
Very good answer. Thank you very much for that. So I'd like to give Dr. DeFi space to speak a little bit. You can unmute yourself. Are you still there?
Yeah, I am here. Can you hear me?
Awesome.
All right.
Yes, yes, yes. Let's hear from you.
All right. So, this is one of the most exciting opportunities that I've come across in past, let's say, 3-4 years. So, as a DeFi enthusiast, getting involved with MEV has been a wet dream for everyone. And we were just spectators till now, just watching Jared and watching other bots have fun with those sandwiches. But now, with this uh, model of democratizing the MEV bot, everyone has an opportunity to get their share of rewards. So it is something which is really, really exciting. So I've been lookout for such kind of opportunities since past 5-6 months, and there have been a lot of laughs, lot of scams that was going around. I was with one project where I found out that something fishy was going on. I tweeted about it, and everything is visible on chain, right? The best part of it is, no matter what the project owner or the founders are saying, if the bot is there and if it is working, you can verify each and every information on chain. So what I do basically is I dig around Etherscan, and I see the transactions, and I do my analysis. And there were some very fascinating transactions that I saw, and I tweeted about it as well. Uh, so there was one transaction where the Xcept bot did two attacks in a single block, making it more efficient. And then there was another attack which was a delayed honeypot. Uh, Luckily, Xcept bot was able to get in and get out without being caught up on that delayed honeypot. So yeah, so I mean, it's if you know what you're looking for, if you know the bot address, you just go to Etherscan and see all the transactions that are going through, right? Now, the MEV business is, I mean, the whole concept of extracting maximum value is based on efficiency. So, like the lead said before, that I mean, it works on a very thin margin. So most of the attacks that you'll see the profit of $1, maybe $2, maybe no profit at all. So it makes much more sense, so much more sense to, I mean, include other products and bundle the transaction along with the MEV attacks. So you will have a very competitive advantage in terms of what Jared is doing or what other bots are doing. So yeah, I mean, it's been a fascinating journey, and I'm really, really excited for what you guys have built. It's been amazing.
Well, thanks so much for being a positive impact on the community and sharing your insights. It's been quite nice to see you in the Telegram group popping up and turning into a full believer and sharing your insights with everyone. It's really, really, really great to have people like you and have you supporting the project. I think everyone in the team is very appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's the whole point. It can be a bit too technical for quite a lot of people. So what I try to do is I try to break down on-chain transactions that has happened into a very simple and logical wordings so that people can understand. That's it.
I love that. I mean, it's true, right? And that's a point that I've been trying to preach quite a bit is that uh, in the end, it's a chart mentality, and it's uh, as simple as possible. People just want, like, in 2 words. Someone asked me the other day, how do you describe what is the benefit of an MEV to a project in just one simple sentence? And I said, makes chart go up. I mean, very silly, very silly, simple, simp kind of answer. But if you think about it, what Sir PT was telling us, Elite was telling us, how the MEV transactions will be done through the treasury, and then the treasury will be buying back the tokens. The tokens will be distributed as rewards to people. It all ties back into the ecosystem. It all ties back also into price. And in the end, that's what drives adoption. And so the team is very aware of that and is working towards that. And I think that's a success model.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, there is a dashboard that you can utilize where you can see all the MEV transactions and their profit that they are making. So I used it for Jared, and I saw that in last 1 week, his cost basis was around $2.8 million, and he made a profit of around $350,000. So you can see that the whole operation is running on a very thin margin. So it's very important that you are efficient, and the most exciting part is we can be efficient as a community, especially if community gives the token approval. We can bundle other transactions along with the MEV attack. That makes much more sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, again, great to hear from you. Maybe if our lead wants to say one or two things about what Dr. DeFi said,
Yeah,
please go
I
ahead.
couldn't agree more. You're completely right, and I very much appreciate your understanding of our ecosystem and the products. And that I really like it when people start digging and really look at the information, because we've been building this for so long, and we're quite proud of what we've built and where we are going as well. So it's always very exciting to us if people ask hard questions, dig deep, do their research, etc. So I'm very appreciative of you joining us here and the research that you've done. I'm looking forward to much more.
Awesome. So if anybody wants to, I'm going to open up the floor just another 5 minutes or something. If anybody wants to come up, ask a question, or give a comment, you're welcome to do so. Just put your hand up. I'm going to try and allow you to speak. And if not, then we will see you again in our next VC, most likely tomorrow, in our Telegram group, where we speak about more exciting things. All right. So let's call it a day, and we talk to you all tomorrow. Thanks for showing up. The project really is appreciating your support, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.
Mavic, baby.